Seriously, my hair needs help. Son of a biscuit. Might help if I was like on the right chapter. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Amyrlin study. I'm Jess, your Amyrlin seat, and I would first and foremost like to most humbly and profusely apologize for the dearth of content that I have been putting out. I don't really have an excuse or an explanation. The last time I tried to record, I tried to do chapter 3 of The Eye of the World, and I didn't realize that my sound was all messed up, so I was like, my voice was way too quiet and the audiobook was way too loud, so I had to go through, like, it was unusable, so I was going to have to go through and redo the whole thing, and I think part of my problem was fixing the sound settings turned into a wall of awful. As it turns out, it wasn't that big a deal. It just takes some testing. So that's fun. Otherwise, though, I think we're good to go. I've got things set up a little bit. My microphone's kind of off to the side, so I've got more room for my cross stitch, that kind of thing. So, you know, we'll see how all of that goes. In the time that I haven't been making content, I've been thinking about the channel and some things that I might want to experiment with, and I'm interested to know what y'all think. I'm thinking about possibly doing 2 or even 3 chapters per video, depending on how long they are. If it's a really long chapter, I would only do 1, but if they're shorter, 2 or 3, I feel like might be reasonable, just to get more out there, because I don't know that it's reasonable for me to try and do multiple videos per week. But if I could do multiple chapters 1 time a week, it would have the same effect and we would be able to get through these, you know, a lot faster. Because as it is, if I'm only doing 1 chapter a week, I'm going to still be doing this when I'm 70. And I just don't know how that's going to go. Maybe by the time I'm 70, I'll be like a hologram or something. That'd be pretty neat. Oh, there goes Simon. I need like a dog door in my background. So yeah, I'm thinking about multiple chapters per episode, so let me know what you think about that in the comments. I'm also thinking about maybe doing different things while I'm listening, so sometimes I might be doing cross stitch, other times maybe I could stream playing Minecraft while I'm listening. You know, there are probably other things that I'm not thinking of right now, but let me know what you think about that. So, other exciting news, I am actually going to be able to go to JordanCon. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but I did some calendar math and it's actually going to work out. So I have got my ticket bought and my plane ticket bought, and I did reserve a room, but then I decided that I'm going to room with Seth from Watt Spoilers, so I don't need that room, so I should probably get that reservation canceled. Anyway, point being, I'm going to be at JordanCon, so if y'all are going to be at JordanCon, hit me in the comments and let me know, and maybe we can talk. That'd be fun. As usual, if you want to come play with me in the internet space, you can find me on Twitter at Amyrlin Study. I'm mostly only active on Twitter at this point. I do have an Instagram, but I'm not putting very much stuff up there, and I would like to do better with that, but I'm not really sure kind of what I want to do there. So if you have suggestions for what would be good on Instagram, like, I don't know, maybe video clips or something, you know, let me know. Shit, maybe that can be like my outtake repository or something. I am part of a Discord. It is the White Tower Discord, and it's a really great community full of really nice, caring people. It isn't actually strictly associated with this channel, but a lot of really great people are there. So if you're looking for a kind, welcoming, inclusive community to be a part of, you can certainly check that out. I will put a link to that Discord in the description. And if you like what I'm doing with the show and you want to see more of it, you want to try to help me get my shit together, you could consider contributing to my Patreon, patreon.com/AmyrlinStudy. I have got just the 1 tier right now, but, you know, as the channel grows, I'll probably expand. If Patreon is not an option for you, that's totally cool. Rate, review, and subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell strangers on the street that this weird bitch is doing this thing that she's doing. So, enough of that shit. Let's read some fucking fantasy. It's been a minute since we've been together, so here's a reminder of what I'm working on. This is how far we've gotten on this very cute little sampler. Another thing that I've been thinking about doing is actually getting some patterns or making some patterns for Wheel of Time based stuff, because I was thinking about it, and since I'm thinking about the possibility of selling these things when I'm done in donating the proceeds to charity, it would probably play a little bit better to the audience if it were actually Wheel of Time themed projects. So let me know what you think about that in the comments as well. I'm really trolling for comments today, huh?
Chapter 3. The Peddler. Clusters of pots clattered and banged as the peddler's wagon rumbled over the heavy timbers of the wagon bridge.
That's some noisy shit.
Still surrounded by clouds to a
Do you
stop
think
in front
that
of the
he,
inn.
like,
From every direction,
violates
people streamed to swell the
noise
numbers around
codes
the
or
great
something
wagon.
in the villages that he
its
goes
wheels
to?
taller than any of the people above
Places
them on the
that
wagon
have those
seat.
signs that say no Jake breaks.
The man on the wagon was Padan Fain. Door of the inn flew open even as the team halted in a jangle of harness, and the village council appeared, led by Master Alvear and Tam. They marched out deliberately, even Sen Bui, amid all the excited shouting of the others for pins or lace or books or a dozen other things. Some peddlers simply told what they knew, throwing it out in a heap, a pile of rubbish with which they could not be bothered.
That's my favorite way of
Others
getting
had to
information.
have every word dragged out of them.
It's a
speaking
garbage heap of
grudgingly,
news.
with a bad grace. He enjoyed being the center of attention, strutting around like an undersized rooster, with every eye on him. It occurred to Rand that Fain might not be best pleased to find a real gleeman in Emmons Field.
That is a fucking burn. An undersized rooster? Like, roosters are already rooster size. And now you're making this dude seem like he's even smaller than a regular size rooster? Like, man, that's raw. That's fucking raw.
Though his friendliness had always been of a peculiarly distant kind, backslapping without ever getting close.
Gotta let people in, man. The demands for him
to speak grew louder, but Fain waited for the crowd and the anticipation to reach the size he wanted.
Fucking diva,
the council
this
alone
guy.
Kept silent.
Jesus.
They maintained the dignity befitting their position,
Ooh.
but increasing clouds of pipe smoke rising above their heads showed the effort of it. Rand and Matt edged into the crowd.
I'm imagining these dudes sitting there just like puffing on their pipes in agitation. Like, I wish this guy would get his shit together. Oh, man.
Perrin Abara shouted at Rand over the clamor.
Ooh, Perrin.
Half a head shorter than Rand, the curly-haired blacksmith's apprentice was so stocky as to seem a man and a half wide, with arms and shoulders thick enough to rival those of Master Luhan himself.
He dummy thick.
He made the apologies anyway, and
What a
tried not to
polite boy.
jostle anyone as he worked through the crowd to Rand and Matt. I'll bet there really are fireworks.
I bet.
You don't know a quarter of it, Matt laughed. Perrin eyed him suspiciously, then looked a question at Rand.
Fucking, you're
It's
right
true,
to eye him
Rand
suspiciously. You
shouted,
can't
then
trust
gestured
that
at the
boy.
growing mass of people, all giving voice. Rand's last words exploded into utter silence, catching the peddler with an arm raised dramatically and his mouth open. Everybody turned to stare at Rand.
You know, that happened to me once at a party at my friends Joe and Peggy's house. I was talking to some people. We were talking about porn, and I was drunk, and we were talking loudly because it was noisy. And then everybody, there was a lull in multiple conversations just when I said really loudly, penetration is the best part. I have not yet lived that down, and that was probably 20 years ago. So, fun.
Fain did not usually have time for anyone too young to buy a good deal of things off his wagon. Rand hoped he had not been relegated to a child
kids.
again in the peddler's eyes.
Get a job.
With a loud harumph, Fain tugged at his heavy cloak. As he spoke, he made broad gestures, casting his words over the crowd.
Like a
You are
spell.
thinking you have had troubles in the Two Rivers, are you? All the world has troubles, from the Great Blight south to the Sea of Storms.
That's fucking how
from
it
the
usually
Arth
works,
Ocean in the
bud.
west, cold enough to gel your blood and crack your bones.
Yeah.
Ah, winter was cold and harsh everywhere.
It's like winter in Wisconsin.
In
Big
the
fucking
borderlands,
deal.
they be calling your winter spring. There are wolves everywhere, all hungry for any flesh they can sink a tooth into.
No,
Be it
no,
sheep
no.
or cow or man. What could be worse than wolves killing sheep and men?
Yeah.
Senbui demanded.
Good
Others
question,
muttered in
Senbui.
support. Men killing men.
Murder
It
most
is
foul.
war, I mean. There is war in Gialdan.
Oh, war, I guess.
War and madness. Ravens and the cries of ravens fill the air. Armies march to Gialdan. Nations,
What?
great
Is it
houses
ravens
and great
and the
men
cries
send
of-
their soldiers to fight. War.
Something other than
Master
ravens.
Alvir's mouth fit awkwardly around the unfamiliar word. The standard of the dragon has been raised, and men flock to oppose
Dun, dun,
and to support.
dun.
One long gasp left every throat together, and Rand shivered in spite of himself. The dragon's not the Dark One.
Yeah,
And
duh.
this is a false dragon anyway.
Fucking school him.
Let's hear what Master Fain has to say, the mayor
Yes,
said.
let's.
But no one would be quieted that easily. You know the prophecies. When the dragon is reborn, your worst nightmares will seem like your fondest dreams. Thousands died, isn't that right, Fain? He laid siege to Ilion.
Not Ilion.
It's evil times. No one claiming to be the dragon reborn for 20 years, and now 3 in the last 5 years. Evil times. Look
Well,
at the
that's
weather.
interesting.
The world would end, so some said, when the real dragon was born again. Stop this!
You say
the mayor
that.
shouted. Be quiet. But Sen Bui refused to be silent.
Of course he
Is this
did.
a false dragon? The Thatcher asked sourly. Use your eyes. Where are the crops that should be knee-high or better? Why is it still winter when spring should be here a month? There were angry shouts for Sen to hold his tongue.
I mean, he
I
makes
will
a
not
valid
be
point.
silent, and I won't dangle on Fain's pleasure, not this time.
Yeah.
Speak it out plain, peddler. If Fain was perturbed by the news he brought, or the upset he had caused, he gave no sign of it. He
You
merely
know that
shrugged and
bitch
laid his
fucking
skinny finger
thrives
alongside
on
his
that
nose.
shit. Padan Fain
As to
loves
that,
drama.
Now, who can say until it is over and done? I do know, he said, too casually, that he can wield the one power. The others couldn't, but he can channel. Perrin seemed to be seeing things he did not like, but Matt still looked excited.
Of course he did.
Tam, his face only a little less composed than usual, drew the mayor close. He'll go mad and die. In the stories, men who channel the power always go mad, and then waste away and die. Sen shook a gnarled fist in Ewen's face. Show proper respect.
Yeah, boy.
And leave this to your elders. Get away with you.
Yeah. Get away with you.
Hold steady, Sen. Act your age, Bran
Not
added.
your shoe
And for once
size.
remember you're a member of the council. Sen's wrinkled face grew darker with every word from Tam and the mayor, until it was almost purple.
Dude, you
know
better
what
calm
kind of
down.
women
You're gonna
he's
blow
talking
a
about.
blood vessel.
Some things just shouldn't be talked about. And I don't
Yeah.
care if he will be letting that fool Gleeman tell any kind of tale he wants. It
Censorship
isn't right
now.
or decent. I never saw or heard or smelled anything that couldn't be talked about, Tam said.
Except for farts.
The Aes Sedai are already into it, the peddler spoke up. A party of them has ridden south from
Farts are
Valon.
funny.
They're always beaten in the end, false dragons. He has to be defeated, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What if he isn't?
Yeah.
Sam had finally managed to speak quietly into the mayor's ear. All of you, listen. Be quiet and listen. The shouting died to a murmur again.
You're not my dad.
This goes beyond mere news from outside. It must be discussed by the village council. Master Fain,
Lottie
if you will
freaking
join us
die.
inside the inn, we have questions to ask. You can't take him off. My wife sent me to buy pins. That was Wit Congar. He hunched his shoulders at the stares some of the others gave him, but he held his ground. Pounding on the door brought only a single shout from the mayor. Go home! People milled around in front of the inn, muttering about what the
Master
peddler had
Elvira
said,
is just fucking
and
done
what
with their
it meant,
bullshit.
And what questions the council was asking. Wit Congar paused to stare into the now abandoned wagon, as though he might find another peddler hidden inside. Finally, only
Poor
a few of
dude
the
just
younger
wants to
folk
buy
were left.
pins.
I don't see how the Gleeman could beat this, Matt said excitedly. I wonder if we might get to see this false dragon. Aaron
Oh,
shook his
boy.
shaggy head. But it was Aes Sedai who actually broke the world.
Technically
I heard
correct.
a story once, Matt said slowly. I suppose he claimed we'd all live in a new age of legends afterwards, too.
I mean, who doesn't
I
want
didn't
flying
say I
cars?
believed it. Only they're afraid to say so. Afraid of the Aes Sedai, or the Children of the Light. He wouldn't say any
You
more
should be
after
afraid of the
Nynaeve
Children of the
lit
Light.
into
Those guys
us.
are fucked.
She told the merchant, sounds like Copland talked to me.
Yeah.
What kind of need would be great enough that we'd want the dragon to save us from it? Rand mused.
I don't know, maybe
As
the
well
end of
ask
the
for
world.
help from the Dark
Just
One.
spitballing.
He didn't say. He said the world would be torn apart by the dragon's coming. That would surely save us, Baron said dryly. Another breaking. Burn me, Matt growled. I'm only telling you what the guard said. Maybe that way, the two rivers will be spared.
I've
You
got
think
bad
they're
news for
really
you,
dark
bud.
friends? They caused the breaking. What more do you want? I suppose.
I think
Matt
it's
sighed,
interesting how
but the next
that
moment he was
whole
grinning again.
situation sort of
Old Billy Congar
got
says they don't exist. Aes Sedai. Dark
diluted
friends.
over the course of
Says
time.
they're just stories. But whenever I ask him to name the Dark One now, he throws something at me.
I bet a lot of people throw something at you,
to
Matt.
do that, aren't you, Matrim Cawthon?
Uh-oh.
Nynaeve Almira stepped into their huddle, the dark braid pulled over her shoulder, almost bristling with anger.
Uh-oh.
But I thought you at least had more sense than to try taunting him into such a thing. You may be old enough
Have
to be
you
married,
met Matt?
Matrim Cawthon, but in truth, you shouldn't be off your mother's apron strings.
That's
The
probably
next
true.
thing, you'll be naming the Dark One yourself. At the best of times, he was never very nimble with his tongue when talking to any of the village girls, not like Perrin.
Dork.
The frowns were gone from her face, but her unblinking stare made him uneasy. He
Unblinking.
looked
That's
to his
fucking
friends,
creepy.
but they moved
Makes
away,
Egwene sound fucking
grinning
creepy,
broadly
right?
as they abandoned him. Will you dance with me tomorrow? That was not what he had meant to say. He did want to dance with her, but at the same time he wanted nothing so little as the uncomfortable way he was sure to feel while he was with her. The way he felt right then.
That's a
The corners
boner,
of her
honey.
mouth quirked up in a small smile. No one ever leaves the Two Rivers, he went on. Maybe somebody from Tarn Ferry, but they're all strange anyway.
Yeah, fuck
Hardly
those
like
Tarn
Two
Fairy
Rivers folk
people.
at all. Maybe I want to see some of the places I hear about in the stories. Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah.
Of course I have. I daydream sometimes, but I know the difference between daydreams and what's real. And I do not, she said furiously.
Dude, you
and
are just
promptly
like,
turned her back on him.
need to
That wasn't what I
extract
meant.
your foot from your
I
mouth,
was talking
dude.
about me. And he was fairly sure that nearly anything he said would be a misstep.
You could probably
They
just
looked
say
at
you're
her
sorry.
hesitantly, then crowded close to Rand. And he saw the rider. I told Master Luhan, only nobody was there when he looked. He said I was seeing shadows. So he believed you, Rand said.
Normalize
But
believing
Perrin
young
shrugged.
people when they tell you stuff.
I don't know. But he ought to know I can tell the difference between a wolf and a man on horseback,
I
even
mean,
at
it doesn't
dusk.
seem like it would be that hard.
I know
so.
what I saw, and nobody is going to make me believe different.
That's right.
I believe you,
You
Rand
stand
said.
by your story,
Remember,
bud.
I saw him too. Nynaeve was right, Egwene announced to the sky when the two youths fell silent. None of you is ready to be off leading strings. People do ride horses, you know. That doesn't make them monsters out of a gleeman's tale.
Girl,
Rand nodded to himself.
you need
It
to
was
lose
just
the
as he thought.
tude.
She rounded on him. And you've been spreading these tales. Sometimes you have no sense, Randall Thor. The winter's been
Egwene,
frightening
babe,
enough
I love
without
you.
going
You're my
about
favorite
scaring the
character, but
children.
like,
Rand gave a sour
this
grimace.
ain't it.
Egwene drew a deep breath and opened her mouth. But whatever she had been going to say vanished as the door of the inn opened, and a man with shaggy white hair came hurrying out as if pursued.
By bears. Huh? All right. That was fun. That was a fun chapter. Lots of fun stuff happening. Lots of information about the Dragon Reborn and Aes Sedai. And, you know, they're not strictly incorrect that Aes Sedai caused the breaking. It's just that it wasn't Aes Sedai as they know it. Not that they know anything really about Aes Sedai anyway. But, you know, what do you expect? This is what we have accomplished. We got a few words, well, letters. We got a few letters in here. So we're making progress. You know, the nice thing about doing more than one chapter at a time would also be I'd be able to make more progress on these things. So that's something we're thinking about. I don't know why I found Wit Congar needing to buy pins so fucking funny, but it's just like the most incongruous sort of tone deaf thing, and it just fucking cracks me up. So we get introduced to Perrin. We understand that he is slow to anger. He likes to think things through. He's a beefy boy, dummy thick. And we also get introduced to Egwene, who Rand has a major crush on, but like any kind of emotionally stunted person isn't able to identify the way that he's feeling. He was a real dick to her when she said that she had these ambitions of going elsewhere to be a wisdom. Like, dude, don't step on your friend's dreams. And like, if you really thought you were going to marry her, maybe you should have acted, I don't know, like you wanted to. Just a thought. Call me nuts, but you know, if you don't act like you like somebody, they're going to assume that you don't. So, pro tip. And then of course we have Nynaeve, who is what's the best way to describe Nynaeve here? She is very much of a mindset that, well, first of all, that the village council doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, which may or may not be true, but it does seem like, at least Master Alvir, Master Luhan, and Tam Al'Thor have their heads on straight. Senbui maybe isn't like an accurate representation of the rest of the council. It's kind of it's an unfortunate attitude, and I've talked about this before on various programs. I talked about it on the White Tower, and other places as well. I think we talked about it on Valon After Dark. Nynaeve is a young woman. She is a pretty woman. She is intelligent. She is talented. She has got something extra going for her that she doesn't know about, but it helps her a lot. But the plight of women in general, and it has been this way for centuries and millennia, is that, especially if you're young and pretty, everybody else assumes that you don't know what you're doing and they don't take you seriously. And so I think that what we see from Nynaeve in these first chapters is a product of that. She has to fight constantly to be taken seriously. She's way super young for a wisdom because the person who was training, the previous wisdom who was training her, died. And so she took this role way sooner than she had expected. And then on top of that, she's good looking. And for whatever reason, a good looking woman isn't taken as seriously as a less good looking woman, which is stupid. And so, you kind of combine those things together and, she has to fight for her voice to be heard constantly. And I think that after a certain point, for a lot of people, it's like yelling becomes the default. And I think that that's what we see from Nynaeve. And I understand that a lot of people don't like that, and you don't have to like it, but I think that you can still understand it and appreciate it for what it is, which is misogyny, ultimately. I think I'm going to wrap things up here. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter at Amyrlin Seat. Also, listen to me on Valon After Dark, wherever fine podcasts are sold. If you like what I'm doing, consider supporting me on Patreon, patreon.com/AmyrlinStudy. And if you want to, and rate, review, and subscribe. Do you rate YouTube? I don't even know. If you can rate on YouTube, please rate 5 stars. Subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. And, follow. That's what you do. Rate, review, subscribe. Yes, subscribe. That's what you want to do. Thank you very much for stopping by. It was wonderful to spend time with you. And until next time, stay hydrated and watch out for shifty peddlers.